Hey, welcome to the new meta, episode 78.
78.
We are joined this week by Wolfcryer. Wolfcryer, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for hanging out.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Fun fact about Wolfcryer, he's literally 9 feet tall.
I am.
I
am. 9.5 to be exact.
Yeah,
you got to offer to play for the Los Angeles Clippers.
True.
And, he said the Clippers stink so bad that he turned it down. He said no, I'm gonna stick to streaming.
Yeah, my favorite BlizzCon photo is that photo of us side by side. I appreciate that.
That was pretty epic, by the way.
But yeah, so getting into the polls from last week, without wasting any time here, we asked, what has you more hyped right now? Diablo 4, PoE 2. So we'll give you a second to weigh in first about what has you more hyped.
Oh, let's see. I gotta say that Diablo 4 has me more hyped for sure.
Okay.
I love Path of Exile just as much. I mean, I play it all the time. I join pretty much every league, and I play every season of Diablo 3 as well. But Diablo 4 has me way more hyped. I mean, Path of Exile, it's I don't want to say this, but I'm going to. It's just a new campaign. Endgame's going to be, whatever endgame is building up until then for the most part. We don't know if that's going to change a lot. But Diablo 4 is a brand new game. I love Path of Exile. I'll be playing Path of Exile 2 when it comes out. But D4 is new. It's new.
Interesting.
There we go.
Interesting. I disagree with virtually everything you just said, but we'll just continue.
That's fine.
What has you more hyped? PTR.
I got to say, I'm going to lean with D4 as well, but in all honesty, it just depends. I have to play them both.
Sure.
If somebody asked me today, I'm going to pick D4, but I want to play them both. I'm excited for both of them. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say D4 is going to win the poll by a landslide, though.
I mean, it's a mostly Diablo podcast. So you're probably correct.
80-20.
Okay. So, what initially, obviously, Diablo 4 has me more hyped without knowing anything about it. But the more we get unveiled to us, the less hype I get. And we know that PoE is for me at least, it's pretty much a sure thing. It's going to be good no matter what. So, I mean, in the current state, PoE 2 for me, 100%. So I'm going to vote and probably be completely wrong. That's not as big a landslide as I thought. 68,
I thought
62,
it'd be 80-20.
62% of the vote
not too bad.
says Diablo 4. 38% of the vote says PoE 2. Goddamn.
Okay. 38% of you guys are wrong. That's okay.
Wow, bro. Wow.
Exactly.
I didn't tell you last week. So I had there was a good handful of people that came to me oh my god, Lord Fluffy, the face of Diablo at ExileCon, and they're like,
yeah.
I got it. I love your podcast, but that other guy doesn't know shit about PoE. I'm like, I know. I tell him every week, get on PoE, learn something.
I played it. I played it for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh, that's enough to learn how to do
bro.
Act 1.
Yeah.
I know. I beat all the acts. I went through the campaign and I did a couple maps. And yeah.
Good for you, bud.
It just didn't keep me sucked in. That's not my fault. That's PoE's fault. So.
And then the next poll, we're going to get into all of this, but we just wanted a quick survey. Do you think the Eggman should have been banned on Twitch for streaming the exploit live? Option 1, no, that seems a little extreme. Good spelling on extreme, by the way. Option 2, yes, but only temporarily. And 3, yes, permaban. So let you guys vote on that. But we won't talk about that. I mean, we're going to talk about it. Let's be real. But we're not going to talk about our votes. But yeah. Oh my gosh. So many things to talk about.
So much juice.
Before we get into all of that, we want to talk about the quick PSA that Matt gave on the forums. So there's a big issue with grouping this season. Probably the worst it's ever been. I'm sure both of you guys have experienced this.
Super frustrating.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm sure if you've been playing, you've heard about, but just in case you haven't, If you switch to non-season and then back to your seasonal character, a lot of the times that will fix the grouping bugs you could be experiencing. So just a little PSA for you boys this season, which is unfortunate, but
it happens to me several times a night.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an easy fix. It works 100% of the time. Just everybody goes to the lobby and you switch your character to not everybody switch non-season, then switch back to your seasonal, and it'll work. It'll let you everybody in. So
yeah, it's been happening to me every day I play. But yeah, that's what we've been doing as well.
Yeah. It's a bummer. But on to the news. So, if you guys have been living under the rock the past couple days, bad things happened on the Diablo. Wolf, do you want to jump into it?
We're starting off with that one, huh?
Hell yeah, brother.
All right.
I assume this is why you wanted to be on the podcast today.
It was.
Okay.
It was. It's my thing. You know that.
Sure.
You know. Let's just say Mr. Eggman, who is a Diablo 3 streamer, streams a lot on Twitch. I've watched a few of his streams. Very knowledgeable guy. Seems like a nice kid. But he did some questionable behavior on stream and managed to exploit the Pandemonium buff to be able to clear a Greater Rift 150 on a ZDPS barb. And yeah, with no damage pretty much, was able to clear the rift. And it was pretty crazy to watch it too.
Sure. So, yeah, so if you guys don't know, basically you group with other people, they decline to join, so you're technically in the rift by yourself. And then they gather up stuff for you, I guess. So you gather up stuff yourself, and then they gather up stuff for you, and like he applies like some shit bleed, because it's on like a lower torment. Like he applies it, and then he goes back to the rift, and then everything like dies, and the kill streaks go off like fucking crazy. And somehow all the kill streaks go off, and the progress flies up, and it's terrible. I hate that this is a thing. But yeah, obviously, you know, that's caused it to be exploited by multiple players. Quick PSA, guys, don't fucking do this.
Yeah.
You will be banned.
Unless you don't like your Diablo.
Yeah. But yeah, and so, you know, they took pretty quick action. I don't know. I doubt that it was Diablo probably that got him banned off Twitch. I assume it was people in Twitch chat.
That was most likely Twitch.
Yeah. But Twitch will like pull your channel down for like, I mean, as long as enough people report you, they'll just pull it down without questions asked. Really.
Yeah. Yeah, it could have just been random reports, but the question is the length. I haven't heard anybody comment on the length of it. So usually I would think if this is his first time he's gotten in trouble, it's a 3 to 7 day ban. So hopefully it's not anything, you know, super long.
Sure.
Like, I think that's, you know, I don't know. It's going to kind of go into the poll thing, but, you know.
No, we could talk. No, because like Wolf won't be here next week, so like we're gonna get into it. So, do you guys? Okay, let me first get your thoughts on like what do you think about Eggman streaming it at all?
About Eggman streaming it, that was just.
Was
what's the word I'm looking for? That was fucking dumb, like literally dumb. It would have taken days to catch on if he wasn't streaming. I mean, I had several people like PMing me everywhere that, dude, look at what Eggman's doing. And I'm like, I got to see this video. As soon as I cleared my rift I bounced out. I watched the video. I'm like, you got to be friggin' kidding me.
Yeah, it was pretty. People were doing the same to me. They were telling me about it. And I actually had people like asking how to play the build. You know,
oh, God.
Like, how do you play this build? Like people thought it was legit, you know, and I'm like, no, it's not legit.
What poor player out there like went and put a support barb together and was like trying to go through like a GR90?
I'm sure it happens. Yeah, like I'm not doing any damage. What am I missing? What am I doing wrong?
Oh God.
So yeah, it's you know, I think it was poor judgment. You know, obviously, I think if he knew he was going to get banned on Twitch, I don't think he would have done it. I can't imagine he would have done it.
Sure.
So, no, I'd say probably one on Twitch. No, But he didn't care about
poor
the
judgment.
Diablo. It's a second
Yeah, he didn't
account.
care about that account, right?
You know, honestly, like to just play devil's advocate a little bit. I think that like he could have sold it a little bit. Like he could have sold it as like, okay, like this is what you can do. This is clearly like an exploit, and he could have done it once, and then he could have gotten like, you know, the street cred like I did at 150 solo. But the fact that he went on to like try to do it on like all the classes, like that was a pretty stupid move.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, reporting it like the first time, it was for experimentation. It was reporting it as a, you know, I was just showing people you could do it. It needs to be patched or something, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty dumb. That was a pretty dumb move.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he gets banned off of Twitch. We don't know the duration of that. Channels don't tell you that. I don't know that he has a Twitter or anything like that. So we don't really know the duration or maybe
there is a Twitter out there, but he's never posted on it. Okay. So I don't know if it's even really his. So
smart.
Yep. Pretty much.
But yes.
So yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Nevertheless came on the forums and she said, basically the following: it's recently came to light that there's a method in which players can unfairly leverage the seasonal buff Pandemonium in an unfair way to progress as a solo player. We wanted to let you know exactly our stance on it and what steps we'll be taking to correct this. First, utilizing the group progress in solo greater rifts is not intended and will be considered cheating. Players found using the mechanic may have their account suspended or closed based on severity of abuse as well as previous account history. These account actions are between Blizzard and the offending player, so please note we will not be commenting on the status of account on a public basis, as has always been our standard practice. Second, we will be deleting any and all clears from the leaderboards where we have been able to confirm the exploit is utilized. So that's fantastic. I didn't think
already
they would
happened.
Even do that. It already happened? Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, they're already gone.
That's fantastic. That was like best case scenario in my mind, but I didn't know if it was going to happen or not. Third, we will be fixing the exploit. We ask that you do not make use of this exploit in bold, team. In the meantime, while we are working on deploying a patch, our team is already at work on a solution, and soon it'll be ready for development. We'll update this thread accordingly. We won't go into detail on the exploit here, but it takes some planning, know-how, and research to make use of this. This is not your type of exploit you can perform by accident. True. Very, very true. Yeah. And then they kind of throw this on here, which I think is a little weird, and I'm curious of you guys' opinion on this.
Yeah, I saw this too.
Yeah, so lastly, this is a good time to remind the community of a few things. Bullet point 1, which just had a few things, but there's only 2 things here. Third-party add-ons and any kind of are strictly prohibited in bold. While any kind of botting software falls clearly under violation of terms of service for Diablo, this also includes any kind of overlay software, map packs, or any of the other additions or alterations to the client. Add-ons are not supported for Diablo 3, and use of them are in account warnings or permanent account closure. So clearly talking about THUD.
Yep.
And then 2, we are committed to continuing to support Diablo 3, including taking actions against botting and cheating. Please keep in mind that we do routine actions to keep Sanctuary fair for everyone, and we will not regularly provide public notice of mass account actions. Like, what? What was the last time they did a ban wave? I guess Wolf would know better than anyone.
It was most likely 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
It's been a while. I think 2 seasons ago they did one mid-season, and they never did one at the end of the season. They used to do them more regularly, but nowadays they don't do them as much. This is something, by the way, that whole that's something they're trying to make sure people are understanding. They are looking at THUD most likely, if I believe myself, that there are going to be bans this season on TurboHUD as well as botting.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think people have skated on HUD for a long time. And I think this is clearly outlining. I think the whole point of this was saying, like, if you think you're safe using THUD, you should stop now. You know?
Agreed.
So,
yeah, yeah. I mean, to me, it's kind of like, whoa. I don't know. It's like they're combining 2 different things to me. Like this is an exploit. It's clearly an exploit. So I guess my question would be like, why even bring it up in this particular thread?
I think just to remind people that they're looking.
I don't think that she publicly announced anything either. I think Matthew Cedarquest posted something as a reply to a question.
Okay.
I think this probably has more eyes on it than a random hidden blue post, you know, like
Sure.
in a thread. So
Yeah. Yeah, let me bring it up actually, because I think what led to this thread was actually
yeah,
interesting.
there was somebody posted his TurboHUD bannable. There it is right there. Down one more.
Yeah, but the one thing she said, oh yeah, this is what was interesting. So this wasn't intended time we were planning on giving it, but we feel the need is expedited. So it sounds like, you know, as you know, we've all been saying, it's like there's clearly maybe something in the works for this season for like hopefully bans for the modders at the very least, and then maybe even THUD.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they're just like kind of pushing that directive already, like just prematurely. So I don't know if it's just like to warn people or what. What do you guys think on this? So, you know, I thought a lot about this today. I think that, you know, if they banned Eggman, you know, they can do whatever they want basically at the end of the day. And I'm sure even if they did ban Eggman, like he's not the kind of player to just be like, okay, you win, you know what I mean? But I think it'd be a little inconsistent. You know, I think that if they come out with this post today and they're like, okay, going forward, like, don't fuck around. But I think like making it now and then maybe like doing a hard ban now would be, I think, a little inconsistent because they really blatantly don't ban. And I think there's a lot of like tweets and stuff around there on the internet where people are like, wow, how could this guy not think he'd be banned or blah, blah, blah. But we are talking about Diablo when historically Diablo's one of the worst offenders, I think, of gaming, of like not taking care of their bodying and the people that cheat and stuff like that. So like, I'm curious you guys' opinions on this.
I agree. I think after this post, after this thread, I think this is the final warning, you know, but it depends on what level of consistency they hold across everybody. You know, if they continue to show a blind eye to a lot of people that bot or break rules or whatever, but then he's the you know, the scapegoat or the I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Example. They're setting an example with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they banned him, I think it would be because they're setting an example. But I think he also did it on an alt account, and they probably know that. So
True.
banning his alt account, I don't think is the same as his main. If they banned his alt and his main account, I think that would be super over. I think it'd be over the top, personally.
What do you think, Will?
I think there's still a chance that they're going to ban his main account as well. I think that's a high possibility, actually.
Sure.
And as far as over the top, I mean, all right. So my video gets a lot of comments that,
Sure.
you know, he just found something wrong with the game, or, you know, it's not an exploit, it's a bug, and Blizzard should have fixed it, and tons of comments along that line. But bugs exist in every single video game.
Sure.
An exploit is when you take that bug and try to do something that it was not intended to do, like clear a Greater Rift 150 with. It's not something that the game intended. Now, he didn't go and report this to Blizzard. Instead, he streamed it and had fun with it. And then even after he got banned on Twitch, he went and did it with 2 or 3 more characters. This wasn't something that he thought was okay because he did it on a separate account. So he already knew, he himself knew he was in the wrong. And it was a horrible judgment call on his part. But at the same time, it was done blatantly and with full intent to do what he did. It's cheating, period. So, you know, and I get a lot of the bug should have been fixed. He had access to it, so why not use it? I go to a supermarket during the fall. There's pumpkins outside. I have fucking access to the pumpkins outside. Doesn't mean I can load up my car and fucking drive away. I mean, that's not how the world works. And I understand a lot of people just don't have the comprehension to fully understand that exploit is exploit. It's against the rules, which is another thing. People are like, where are these rules? You signed them by clicking agree when you started up Diablo 3. They're there. It's black and white. Same with Twitch's terms of service. It's there. You're not supposed to cheat and show off how to cheat in video games. It's in Twitch's terms of service. This is something that if you didn't take the time to read, that's on you. I can't fly through stop signs and go, well, I didn't know it was wrong, officer.
Sure.
So, I mean, should his main account be banned? Now, mind you, I like Eggman. Sure. I don't have a problem with it. But should his main account be banned? Yes, 100%. And as far as TurboHUD goes, that's something that changes the game that isn't used by the entire player base.
Sure.
It's not part of the core game. It should be a bannable offense. And the last thing I'll touch on is, when has Blizzard ever been consistent? So it's pretty much okay to not be consistent and ban the fuck out of everybody.
I mean, true. Yeah, and to touch on that, to play devil's advocate for the spark of a debate, we got insight, and you were there with me, Pete. Like, I mean, they definitely knew this was going to be a thing going into the season. So if it wasn't Eggman, it'd been somebody else, and it just so happened that he streamed it. I don't know. I think that it's really inconsistent, because you look at the DH Necro exploit from like over a year ago, and like I don't think anyone got banned from that, and people were even exploiting it after they said, "Please stop exploiting this."
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I just think it's
there were bans handed down for that.
Were there?
Yeah, there were people removed from leaderboards and all.
Removed from. I knew people were leaving, but I don't remember hearing about any bans. But not that I'm.
Yeah, I think I heard about suspensions. I thought people got suspended.
Yeah, I thought it was suspensions.
And that's, you know, I don't know. I see both sides of it. I think the stupid thing is that he.
Sure.
I think the bigger offense is that he was showcasing it and making it public, putting a public spotlight on it, and I think that's what will aggravate Blizzard more than just randomly abusing it. But if they banned him, I would be like, well, I understand. I see why they did it. And if they suspend him and he gets his account back, then I'd be like, okay, I think that was fair. So either way. And the same with Twitch. Like, there's no way it's a permanent ban on Twitch. It'll probably be at maximum 30 days, minimum probably 3. So
yeah.
So I mean, he got his hand slapped on Twitch. I think that would be enough to be like, okay, that's your one warning, dude.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
that'd be worse. I would think that, like, worse.
The Twitch thing would be worse to me too. Yeah, I mean, I think out.
Twitch itself is more inconsistent with its fans than Blizzard.
Yeah.
I mean, because let's look at oh god, who was that old Diablo 3 streamer that was constantly cheating?
Gabinator or Chainer?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to name, but I can think of a whole bunch. So.
Chainer too, but Chainer didn't start off that way.
True.
Gav was doing it nonstop on his stream, and nothing ever happened to him on his Twitch and stuff. I do want to touch on one thing. You said that people were already able to do this on the PTR.
Yeah.
The PTR was a little bit different, and they actually changed that going into this season, because it was made a way around the PTR that you were able to kill all the mobs outside of a rift and then go into the rift and take those stacks with you. That was changed on the PTR from PTR to live. You couldn't do that. He was using a different workaround with this one.
Okay.
Where it actually, he did it differently and found out that it still worked.
This is the thing that's crazy to me, because like, and I love Blizzard, so please don't hate me, Blizz. But like, how does a queue? I don't know. As a gamer and a programmer, like, there's no way. Like, this is like a really straightforward thing. Like, taking anything outside the Greater Rift into the Greater Rift and thinking about the probably just a dozen instances of what can happen with the group in Diablo 3, period. Like, how does it make it through, period? And then, I don't know. And then banning. Anyways, I could go all day, but it's just.
This is an opportunity. Like, this is an opportunity to showcase why PTRs are important.
Yeah.
I feel like, and
why they
more
should be more than a week.
one. Yeah, we more than one PTR, and then this is also another example of people that can do the right thing by finding these bugs, and then like you could probably make some buddies at Blizz if you go to them and say, hey, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You guys probably should know about this, instead of like, hey, check this out, Twitch. Let's cheat,
True.
So I think there's two ways to play that. Like, you're smart enough to figure it out. His group of people are really good at the game, and they're good at figuring out the exploits. So use that to your advantage. Don't hinder yourself. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and the same thing happened like when Globe Monk was initially discovered. Like no one reported it because they're like, oh my god, we're gonna be able to push so high when this goes through. And it's just like, it's so silly. Like, you guys, we step around our own feet as a community when we do shit like that, because it's like, well, why are we even doing a PTR? Because you guys aren't gonna like tell us like the big shit that needs to get nerfed because you want it to go through. And it's just yeah.
I think that from a community focus, the downside is that I think this is going to make Blizzard more hesitant to keep introducing really cool seasonal themes, because now they're going to have to sit there and say, well, this is probably going to be exploited somehow. Let's not do that. Just like last time, because they don't want to go through this. I'm going to say a PR nightmare. I don't know exactly how much it bothers them, but probably a little bit, and especially that D3 team, they're probably upset about it, So
yeah.
Both those guys are like scrambling right now.
Yeah.
And and again, to like circle back, it does suck that they clearly work really hard on this seasonal theme, and I know you didn't want to mention it, but like Quinn's pretty much already leaked, but it's such a small team. Like, it's such a teeny tiny team. And so like to see this come out of it, and then now people are going to be like kind of actively judging kind of Diablo for it. And it just sucks because it just doesn't seem like Diablo can score a win right now, really. Other than them being open with communication and stuff like that.
This was the best theme they've ever done, and now it's marred by this.
Yeah.
So, so I had this question last night, and I'll pass this off to you guys. So obviously I was streaming Diablo last night. It was a hot topic last night because that's when it was going down. People asked me, they're like, well, season 19's over, rip, it's done. A lot of people were super negative and like, I'm done. I'm not going to play the season anymore, this or that. And I was like, why? Like, Blizzard will probably be able to purge leaderboards, so relax, it's okay, which they have already.
Sure.
And B, it's like, just because somebody exploited and got 150, just ignore it. Like, I don't understand why people have such a hard time just being like, well, he cheated.
Sure.
Next guy down the list. I know it's not ideal, but to me, I'm like, that doesn't influence me at all.
No.
It doesn't take away my enjoyment of the season. It doesn't make me stop playing the season. I could honestly, personally care less. So
I concur because the leaderboards are rampant with bots. Like, so it's like,
right.
So someone's at the top with a 150. Like, it doesn't change. Like, there's people still ahead of me that are like cheating. Like, at the end of the day. So
right.
That's why it's like, to me, it's like, okay, you ban that guy that got the 150, but like, what about all the people like honestly that I care about? Like him doing the exploit at one time is such like, to me, it's like whatever. The guys that bought like 24/7, season after season after season, get those guys. You know what I mean?
I completely agree with that 100%. And not only that, it's the guys that bought like 10 hours a day that try to stay under the radar.
True.
Those are the guys that pisses me off just as much as the guys at least the guys that do 23 hours a day. At least they know. Like, at least they're like, fuck it, I don't even care. It's the guys that do it 10 to 12 hours a day that are like, I don't bot, man.
True.
And it's just like, dude, you have so many keys to farm rifts. You have primal everything. Every gem's leveled up for you. Like, it's just ridiculous. So I hope that whatever ban wave, whatever upcoming plan they have for bots and TurboHUD and all that kind of stuff, I hope it gets everybody. I don't want just to get the 23-hour-a-day guys. So
yeah.
Same. And on that note, like, I agree with you totally as far as the season. I'm having fun with it. It doesn't matter. Just like Fluffy said, everybody above me, there's going to be a handful of botters in there, at least a handful. You know what I mean? I always play Diablo 3 seasons to push myself to see how far I can go. I'm never going to be number one just because I don't have that type of time. I work 50 hours a week. I mean, I can't put in that Paragon grind to get 3K in a season.
Sure.
It's not going to happen. That, and I spend my time doing YouTube videos, which means I'm not playing the game during my time off. I get a family. So I'm never going to reach that part. So I always play to have fun with my friends and the people that I'm streaming for, and just try to push myself. That's what I get out of Diablo.
True.
Yeah, I agree. Some of me and some of my community members have a competition between us. It's like who can get the highest. Like we're all playing Barb this season, so we're competing. You know, there's like 4 or 5 of us that are competing, and so it's fun. Every day you log on and you're like, oh shit, they passed me up. You know, we got to put in some work. You know, and then you'll pass them up, and it's this constant grind. So you can make a lot of fun out of things that way. Do your own personal lead. Like you can sort leaderboard by friends and clanmates too. Just a FYI in case you guys didn't know that.
True.
So you can leaderboard against your friends, man. You know. So
yeah, do you guys have any closing remarks on the whole ban situation before we move on?
I think we covered it pretty good. I think it's been beaten in the ground a little bit.
I think it's kaput.
Right on. So one of the things I saw kind of spark up on Reddit this week was this guy just posted and got like 1,000 upvotes, and it says his number one gripe with ARPGs in recent years is that you, like, in Diablo and PoE, you fly around the map at the speed of light. And like in PoE, just like one shot everything. In Diablo, you're just like, you got in-game spam, and so you're just like spamming that movement skill and just flying, and it bothers him, and he prefers the more slow, methodical type of play, which I found interesting. I can see both perspectives. I personally enjoy playing Blightspear and flying around at the speed of light and killing everything. And same with PoE, but at the same time, I really like Lost Ark, and Lost Ark's definitely not a game where you like fly across the map at the speed of light. So I'm curious. Wolfcryer, will ask you first. What do you tend to enjoy? You think?
As far as my personal enjoyment, I do enjoy the faster builds. In PoE and in Diablo 3, I mean, I've always played Monk. It's always been able to whip around a rift. Whether you're doing Nefs or GRs, this season it's the fastest. It's got the fastest build in the game for the most part, and I just really enjoy that playstyle. But I can see the point of slowing things down and actually, if you think about it, when you're doing rifts and you're pushing and stuff, yeah, the rifts are going by quickly, but it's that boss fight that really kicks it up a notch when you're taking that extra like 2-3 minutes to fight them, and you're actually going to have to use your mechanics more. So I prefer the faster play style, but I can see the allure for slower play styles.
Mm-hmm. P?
I would have said faster until I played PoE. I mean, not PoE. I mean, Lost Ark. Sorry. Yeah. So Lost Ark has changed my perspective on a lot of things, man. Its combat is phenomenal. And I say this every podcast. If you guys haven't played it, you should. Yeah. The combat in it is drastically different than Diablo or PoE. And it's done in such a good way that the slow combat, the way it plays, is way slower, but it feels really good.
Yeah.
The boss, like, it's funny because as Wolf was saying, like, as you have a 2 or 3 minute boss fight and there's mechanics, I'm almost chuckling a little bit because I think like Lost Ark actually has real mechanics in it.
Yeah.
And like comparatively to Diablo, it's not, it's like, it's like baby mechanics versus like real mechanics.
Right.
And so there are so many things that I hope that Diablo 4 borrows from it. And I think they have a little bit with the demo we got to play.
Yeah, little boss.
But I think Diablo 4 is going to end up being a speed game like Diablo 3. I just have that feeling it's going to be ridiculously fast. And it's not bad. Like, I like it, man. I like playing Wave of Light. Like, Wave of Light Monk for regular, Nephilim Rifts is amazing. It's fun. It's phenomenal. But Lost Ark's combat feels great, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you could have a mix as well. I tend to think like maybe if say we were to spawn like a PoE Diablo in their current forms, not their next forms, but like, you know, flying through the map on something like Blightspear, and then maybe if you got to a boss and it was like maybe you slowed it down a bit like Lost Ark or PoE, that would feel pretty fun. Or if you could like somehow swap some skills or something just for bosses, and it was just more methodical and slow, and you had to avoid stuff. I think that'd be a pretty good mix. But yeah, I guess if I had to choose, I guess I'd go a little bit more methodical like Lost Ark. But I do love flying around. I mean, I think we all do.
Yeah, I guess it just depends on how the game plays.
True.
Because 100%, if you would have asked me this before I played Lost Ark, I would have said, yeah, I love the fast builds. Going slow sucks. Because when you think about it as a Diablo player, you're thinking going slow means like leveling process, right? And that's not fun.
True.
But Lost Ark is slow, and it doesn't feel like that. It feels phenomenal to kill things. So, you know, I can say that.
So this is kind of out of, you know, character for us, but lore. Diablo 4 lore. So if you guys missed it last week, we have pretty good like ruling to know that that's Rathma, in fact, in that cinematic trailer. You know, someone broke down the video files and it said looks into Rathma's eyes, blah blah blah. So we know that that's Rathma. And so I read this crazy post that gave like the theory of what that could potentially mean, because that's one of the questions we asked last week. It's like, I don't know what that means for the story, but we know that that's Rathma.
So let me interrupt for half a second.
Sure.
You'll skip a cinematic in every game ever, but you'll read a lore post on Reddit.
Yeah, but I mean it's highly upvoted, so I always skim through that stuff. Right, 1,274 upvotes.
All right, just checking.
Yeah. And plus, you know, we're kind of rank 1 Diablo lore guy now. I mean, really, if you think about it, at the end of the day.
Artists too. I mean, the artwork is phenomenal.
Yeah. Insane. So basically, I guess what it means. So if there's another assumption out there that the guy, you guys remember the guy that was like the really low voice in the gameplay trailer of Diablo? So I get what? He was like talking to the gravestone.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I guess the theory is he is like talking to Tyrael. Like Tyrael became mortal, and like so since we're so far down the road with Diablo 4, like it's like, you know, beyond the mortal life, and Tyrael's just dead from like mortality. Now, I guess according to lore, like all angels get reborn through like the spine of Anu or something like that. So he'll come back eventually. We just don't know when. But he's dead is what the theory is. So he's talking to Tyrael. The guy's talking to Tyrael when he's like old friend, and he's looking at the gravestone.
Okay.
So the theory is what that means is, so Rathma like historically like doesn't like Lilith. Like it's his mom, but like they don't like each other at all. And so the theory is the only reason he would bring her back is because she like looks out for the Nephilim, basically, because they are her children. And so she would want to like keep Sanctuary safe, because the greater scheme and why like hell's running rampant is that heaven has closed its gates because they're like preparing to just wipe out Sanctuary. And it's like Imperius is going to lead that charge because Tyrael's not around to stop him. You know, none of the like greater evils are like, I guess, rising up. And so they're just going to like knock it out.
So Lilith would be a good guy.
A good guy, but obviously could be very cunning and manipulative and like have a, you know.
It sounds pretty badass to me, honestly.
Wolf, you have anything to say? Are you a big lore fan in the Diablo universe?
Not especially, but I mean I know some of it. Now this guy doesn't have any like inside information, right? Because I personally don't agree with it.
Okay.
I mean, just because I think that heaven's closed its gates, they make sure that you know that, and the fact that they want it to feel like heaven's gone from this game, at least in the beginning, you know,
sure.
Early on. And we know that you travel to hell, and it would make sense that Imperius is in hell.
Mm-hmm.
because that's where he currently is. Mephisto
Inarius.
took him to hell. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
But that's where he is.
Right.
So how did he get back to heaven when heaven kicked him out?
Oh no, Imperius would be leading the charge against.
Oh, Imperius.
So that fucking rat. Yeah. I do the same thing. Inarius, Imperius, all the time. All the time I'm interchanging them. The only thing that helps me is Inarius is the Necro set. So I'm like, okay, that's obviously not the angel dude. That's the guy that's being trapped in hell. But yeah. What do you think, P? What do you think of this theory?
I think it's okay. I think the theories, as far as the theory goes, there's, I don't know enough about lore to be like, oh, that couldn't happen. That possibly couldn't happen. I don't know. But as far as a story-wise, like if that were the story, I think that's a really cool twist because I think all of us expect Lilith to be evil, right?
Yeah.
So if we go into this game thinking she's evil and then plot twist, she's actually like good and she's working on your side, it's a pretty cool twist, except for he just spilled it. You know what I mean?
True.
So,
True.
So,
I honestly felt like Diablo 3 was leading up to Imperius being the bad guy. And I think we've talked about it before, like a lot. It did seem like, like the black.
It did seem like he was bad. Yeah.
Yeah. He's so proud.
He's kind of a dick.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys feel that way, but Imperius is a dick.
Yeah, Toad's a dick.
Yeah, he is.
So, I wouldn't mind killing Imperius.
Sure.
If we got the opportunity, I'd be like,
yeah.
What's up?
I'm curious, like, what do you guys think? Like, how are they going to make us less OP? Like, we beat Diablo with all the evils in him, right? Like, how could we not shit on any foe that we're going to face? Like, Nephilim are 2 god tier. Like, we need to be knocked down.
Maybe Imperius
or
comes and
S tier,
smacks us up a little
and
bit.
we need to be like C or D tier. Like,
yeah.
Is there anything?
We never.
Yeah.
And like I said, Imperius has got to smack us around a little bit because who could take our power? Can anybody actually? I mean, it's like part of us. I don't know how you could take it, but
no idea. Something's
I don't
gotta
know.
happen.
I'm not a lore nut enough to answer these questions.
Sure.
So.
We need to have 9-ball on sometime. You just be like correcting us
lore
left
stream.
and right.
Lorecast.
But yeah, and so in the next part, we're kind of touching on itemization again. I'm very curious to hear Wolf's stance on some of the itemization discussions we've heard come from Diablo. So first, before we get into it, and before maybe I sound a little critical, I wanted to reemphasize this upvoted Reddit post, which I totally agree with, right? That says, D4's team's communication style is probably an experiment, so let's make it a good one, right? So if you just come out with a post that, like, say you read Angelic Power and you're like, oh, that's fucking garbage, like, that doesn't help anybody, right?
Really? Are you sure?
Give some feedback, and at the same time, like, you guys are probably getting this left and right in your stream and on your channels, but like, people are all saying like, oh, the game's not even out yet. Like, why are you even talking about it? Because they're fucking asking for our feedback.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to talk about it. They're asking for our feedback, so definitely give your feedback. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? Wolf, we haven't had you on in the past weeks, but what do you think about all the communication, man? It's insane, right?
I'm loving the communication. That was something that was brought up at BlizzCon, where they were looking at doing, quarterly updates, and it seems like it's even more because the first one was in, what was that, February? It was supposed to come out, and we've already gotten 2 blogs since then. Yeah. I mean, it seems very good and very preemptive.
Right. It's dope, man. I never expected this from them.
Like, I genuinely feel like they're listening to feedback and they're talking about it on their teams, and they're trying to come up with ideas and like, I think it doesn't feel sorry for the pun. It doesn't feel like fluff. It feels like it's good stuff,
Fluff is good stuff. What are you saying? But yeah, I totally agree. And outside, and what do you guys think? So outside of, honestly, like Mr. Llama's feedback and one Reddit post where they talk about, recognition from David Kim being fucking amazing, which I don't disagree with, but they're calling him amazing because of the itemization idea. I haven't seen a lot of positive feedback on the itemization changes, but I'm curious what you guys have seen on the internet.
I haven't read a lot of comments, to be honest with you. I read the posts, and I have my thoughts on the posts, and we discussed it, but I didn't go through and really read a lot of the comments. My chat talked about it the first day, and they were, I got mixed reactions. It looks fucking amazing, and it looks horrible, dude.
Sure.
So I'm indifferent. There are things I like and dislike.
Sure.
So. What about you, Wolf?
Jinx.
All right, so my video that I put up about the second part, this is the one you're talking about where they changed added the powers and added that cube thing or whatever it is. A lot of the comments that I get in mine are very positive, actually, and my take on it is very positive. I don't see any negatives in it at all.
I'm glad you're on this podcast then.
In the post at all. I do worry about implementation.
Okay.
Because that is something that could change things heavily as far as how it's implemented. But overall, I think the addition of additional affixes on gear can definitely bump up the item pool and bump up the ability to make builds. I think having that drop late end game, where you get this thing that drops and it has a random special power on it, which doesn't mean it's random when you put it on the item. It's random when it drops. So now you've either been able to find or trade for this item, possibly if it's a tradable item, where all of a sudden it helps define your build along with your mythic legendary. And it allows you to utilize that rare piece of gear that you found that you thought was amazing, and shit, I'll never be able to use it. We've all seen that in Diablo 3. I mean, it was better in vanilla, but the game was worse in vanilla. So, I mean, I wish we could have some of the itemization back from Diablo 3 vanilla into Diablo 3 currently.
Really?
Well, yeah. Come on. Quad gloves. Come on.
All right.
Everybody was crafted for the quad gloves back in vanilla.
Okay.
I mean, there was the sets in Diablo 3, like, it just destroyed any build diversity. And I think that going the same route with just legendaries in Diablo 4 will do the same thing.
That's
Now
interesting that you say that, because it's your opinion that post ROS we have less build diversity than vanilla?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I can only remember like 5 builds in vanilla.
The problem with, but one of the big things with Diablo 3 is build diversity in Diablo 3. It's because of the infinite endgame, that GR150 that only, certain setups can do. And it's that causes build diversity. If you look at Path of Exile, almost every build in the game can be configured to do all of its content because its content is doable. That's how you can balance it out. Can it do it? Is it doing it too fast? There.
Sure.
That's it. In Diablo, you can't do it. So there's always going to be that tip-top build that no matter how much you try and balance it, something's always going to shoot past or be just short because none of it can reach it. So if you had every build in the game able to do a GR150, you could run every build in the game.
Sure.
But it's all based on that. But as far as this itemization, I think it needs to be this. There needs to be more choices, not less, not confining people to legendaries for all of their builds, not confining people to set items for all of their builds. I'm really looking forward to this. The only issue is the new powers might act like sets.
Yeah.
Some way,
I'm
shape,
scared
or form.
about loot vomit as well. if you have to start looking over every single yellow drop you get to see if it's good, obviously going by D3 drop rates.
Sure. I mean, but they've been pretty clear about how we're definitely never going to see D3 drop rates in D4, like the rates.
I mean, even yellows and blues, I would think
Yeah.
you're still going to get those frequently. And loot
I think
vomit's a
it's gonna
thing, man. There's been a lot of games I've played where you spend so much time managing loot that you're like, man, this is horrible.
Sure.
You know, like loot filters.
Yeah,
PoE.
loot filters. I mean,
So-
no, we don't even, like, it's terrible. Everyone probably agrees. But okay, so I'm glad you're on this podcast, Wolf, because I want to talk about it again, because I talked about it last week, and it's just so hard to convey why I think it's inherently flawed without showing it. So I actually made a PowerPoint presentation. I hope you have a notepad ready, so maybe we can change your opinion. Okay, so this is how an item was before, basically, loot 2.0 in Diablo 4, right? Other than the fact that these boots would have had attack on them, right? So you would have had, basically, I don't know if they count attack and defense as an affix. I'm pretty sure they don't, but it basically had 4 affixes: attack, defense. This had 3% movement speed and 25% cold resist. And so the community is like, no, not complicated enough. So they do this, okay? Plus 15 angelic power. And so then everyone's like, okay, now we're talking. We got a new affix, angelic power. Ooh, it sounds provocative. I'm really, really excited. But then they do this, okay? They basically take off an affix because now it requires angelic power just to unlock. So now you have basically essentially the same item that you already had, but maybe a little bit worse, because depending on how powerful angelic, demonic, ancestral power are, which I would assume 25 flat cold res would just be better. And this is like a terrible example because it's cold res instead of like something like a passive ability or something like that. Okay. And then boom, they put a 4th one on it, but okay, that one requires demonic power, which you also don't have. So they've added more affixes, and of course, I'm assuming there's a chance that you could get like all angelic power, and you'd have the angelic power you needed to get all 4 affixes. But essentially, we started this item with like 2 affixes, and we've ended this item with 2 affixes. And essentially, it's actually probably weaker than it was originally.
All right. You want me to jump in now?
I mean, sure, go ahead. Just add this. Yeah.
All right. Just at this, I mean, it's going to depend on exactly how much angelic power each piece can have on it.
Sure.
Okay, so we don't know the specifics on that. We also don't know the specifics on other ways to get angelic power. Diablo 3 and Diablo 2 use gems. What are the gems used for in Diablo 4? Could this be a way to build up your powers? If so, that would be pretty awesome. So we don't know the implementation yet.
Sure.
Is the problem. I think inherently, if this was to go and there's no, I mean, that's 50 demonic power. These boots are trash right there. They're gone because there's not enough angelic power to unlock the angelic one, and there's no demonic power, and you need way too much of it.
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean that you can't get one with 25 and demonic power plus 1 to devastation and 25% fire res on it?
Probably.
Now you're switching it up, and now it just requires demonic power, and you've already got half of the demonic power you need on those boots. So it's all going to depend on the implementation.
Sure.
I think we need more information,
of course,
until we can make an exact whether this is bad or good. If it's like you say, and this is the be all end all, then yeah, it's crap. But I think we need a little bit more information on how everything's going to tie together, what legendaries are going to look like, because are they going to have angelic power? Are they going to have more? They're going to have less? They're going to have these unlockable stats, which should not happen on legendaries. I think it's still going to boil down to how everything plays out. I think we need to wait for the next itemization update and really dig in to see how they want to implement this and how many other attributes or affixes are going to be added to the game.
on like things outside of gear?
No, things outside of this angelic power and demonic power and all that.
Sure.
Are they putting other stuff there? Are they putting,
From what we've seen,
how much of the attack speed, crit chance,
all
crit
of that
damage?
Diablo 3 stuff. That's what it looks like.
Is it more than Diablo 3 stuff? Are they throwing in some of the Diablo 2 type of stuff? I mean, how far are they going?
Sure.
It's all going to depend on
Right.
that type of stuff. Plus, angelic power does give you a bonus all by itself.
Sure.
So like you said, there is still only 2 stats, but now you've got the possibility of unlocking 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2 with possibly 2 more.
Yes. Okay. But again, so like you say, and I'm glad you said it, like, I feel like we need to know more to really make the judgment. But they're asking us to make the judgment now, and we're going based on the information we have. And so, therefore, I can only assume in the current state of the game with what they've implemented already, angelic power, ancestral power, and demonic power only come from gear. Otherwise, what would be the point, right? Unless like the caps are so high that you need to invest fully in angelic power. But then, if you do, we essentially have sets built into rares and legendaries.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm scared is going to happen.
That's what I do worry about that as well with it. I want more information myself so that I can really make the judgment call. Overall, I like the additions of more affixes. I like the addition of the powers.
Of course.
But yeah, it's all going to, with these unlockable affixes, it's going to really depend on how it's implemented.
Mm-hmm. And so then, to touch on the other thing is, so you can add this legendary affix to a non-legendary item to make like a rare good, essentially. One of the things that I found really interesting is there's a video made by Noxious, and he brought up a fantastic point where, so they basically confirmed that they're adding an affix to rares. They're adding another affix, or doubling affixes on doubling affixes on rares, adding another affix to blues, whatever they call those, and then magic, sorry, and then legendaries are getting a new affix. So legendaries will have like 5, maybe 6. So at the end of the day, and then probably higher rolls based on what we saw in the demo. Like demo legendaries had higher rolls than rares, and so at the end of the day, a natively rolled legendary will still be better than a rare. So essentially, we have the ancient chase still in the game, because ideally you could put teleport, grants, barrier, absorbs, blah 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 on these boots, but ideally you'd want the boots rolled perfectly to wear that instead. Now the only situation where
the end game master set will be full legendaries.
Yeah, the only scenario where this isn't the case, and what he maybe didn't see, is if there's so many legendaries in the game that like maybe 2 legendaries effect you want would both be on boots, and you could take that and put it on like a pair of gloves or something. That's when it gets kind of interesting. But ideally, if there's like, if there's one legendary like per slot for the build you really want to put together, you're basically chasing, best in slot legendaries, because natively they're going to always be better than rares still.
What if they did a system like Diablo where you get 1 legendary weapon, 1 legendary armor piece?
Like
then you're limited. Then
cube.
So that you're like, you get your 1 legendary piece. I'm not saying I like this.
Sure.
I'm just tossing it out.
Sure.
What if they limited it and then you had to use the cubes on the yellows to get the powers you wanted? You're like, oh man, I got the boots, but I need this.
That's, in my opinion, that'd be build limiting rather than making it better for the most part. I mean, because then you're gonna run into the problem where it's okay, this is the build, guys. Come check out my video. I mean, not that me as a YouTuber I mind, but you're gonna run into that where everything's predefined, just like Diablo 3.
Yeah, the scenario that Fluff just said, if the legendaries have higher rolls, then it's still just a legendary in every slot game. Like yellows will be placeholders for a little bit.
Sure. Or the off chance that, like I said, like boots, you want 2 legendary effects and they both roll on boots, and you can get them on gloves or something.
Right.
Which that would be interesting, right? There's so many legendaries in the game that it's like, man, I really like all of these boots, so I'm going to get these boot effects like on my gloves, on my shoulders, whatever. I guess there's no shoulders, but whatever.
So then your Kanai cube is just an actual cube you put on the item.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, it's just Kanai cube is now on the gear.
But
So-
my point in bringing this up is essentially like they're like, we got rid of ancients, and everyone's like, yay! But they've essentially recreated the ancient chase here. Like if this is the case, like if this is what I believe to be the case, because this is how it was in the demo, and there's nothing leading me to believe that ancient or legendary still wouldn't roll higher than rares. And they're obviously, as they posted in the itemization part 2, legendaries are getting more affixes, and legendaries already had more affixes. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. To me, the overarching thing that I really want to drive home, and I'm curious to you guys' opinions on, is they can't seem to get away from Diablo 3 ideals, even when they try to come up with something new. Like they essentially just recreate what they already had, or kind of obfuscate, like what we talked about earlier. Is like they're not really. I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to be toxic, but like we said with this, it's like, well, we start with 2 and we're ending with 2.
I think new ideas are hard. I think that's the thing. Like, there's a bunch of ARPGs out there, and all of them have common shared, loot ideas. And even other games stole from Diablo 3, I feel like a lot. So it's I don't have a perfect answer either. Like what the loot should be this, and just map it out. Otherwise I would. But I agree though. I feel like it does look like you're chasing perfect rolls, which would be legendaries in every slot, which is what they said they didn't want, but still was what it's going to be, So,
well, no matter what, you're going to be chasing those perfect rolls, whether it's on rares or legendaries anyways. So, I mean, that's going to be the point of any loot-based game. But I think what they want to do is open up the ability to create builds without relying on just legendaries and just sets, which is Diablo 3's major problem. And I think that's where Diablo 2 players would agree, etc. And even as a person who loves Diablo 3, there's so much limiting to builds going on because everything's required and everything. I mean, nobody's running, I can't even name all of the runes for Wave of Light because nobody uses 4 runes of Wave of Light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
So
let me ask you guys this then. What if loot is so rare? Like, we talked about vanilla D3. And you remember how rare legendaries were in vanilla D3. If D4 goes the same and they're that rare, then you're gonna be using yellows. And let's say we have a 3-month season, right? And the 3-month season is how many legendaries can we get in the 3-month season? Hopefully not a full set, but if you can get 4 or 5. So, but then you're not making the build you want to make. Let's say you really want to do Whirlwind, but you don't get the items you need for a Whirlwind the whole season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's a downside to having them be rare, but there's also an amazing chase factor for them being rare.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the limit? Like, where's the limit?
Yeah. I hope that if that's the case, like legendaries are crazy, crazy rare. They add even more affixes to rares. Because I don't know. Especially with the angelic powers and all that stuff being in there and items being restricted. I don't know. The item chase would have to be fun outside of chasing the ultimate legendary to me. Good.
I think it's going to come down to content at that point.
Sure.
It's going to have to be content that gets it. Because you're still going to be able to run Whirlwind. So you need to be able to enjoy the actual content. It can't just be greater rifts. There's got to be stuff to do that's enjoyable by different player types. And there's got to be a way for you to reach the end game with your builds. I mean, it needs to be accessible to everybody. Yeah, you're going to have to min-max your gear as you're going to really be able to, nail down the end bosses, just like if you're running for taking down Shaper and PoE. or Uber Elder, etc. Every build can do it, but not everybody's going to be able to.
Right. Totes. ThaPChild, anything else to say on it?
No, man, I think, we hit it up. I'm excited to see what else they give us.
Yeah. And again,
this is a first step, and they're getting feedback, and
exactly.
I think the next wave will probably get more details as they iron them out, and then we can really assess and think. The cool thing is when they throw it out there like this, though, you don't have just Diablo 3 players. You got Diablo 2 players, you got PoE players, you got, every ARPG in the market. Like, this isn't just Diablo 3 guys that are interested in this. This is everybody. So we're getting opinions and thoughts and minds from all these different angles that I surely don't have, and a lot of us, we're so D3 focused, at least I am, that it's cool to see perspective from other people too.
But that's what's interesting to add to that is like the perspective what we're talking about. The thing that's fascinating to me is week after week, we get more and more opinions of like Diablo 3 streamers, Diablo 3 content creators. No one wants Diablo 3 itemization. That's a Diablo 3 player, which is crazy because we all play as much as we do. Whereas I'm sure Llama, and we'll have him on hopefully eventually, if he had to pick between like Diablo 3 and Diablo 2, obviously Diablo 2 would be what makes it forward. He still likes the Diablo 2 itemization. He's still like really passionate about it and thinks it's exciting. And you just don't get that from a Diablo 3 player. Like, it's just like, we hope the next iteration's better. At the end of the day, we would like it to be way better, which I just think is just fascinating.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, the grass is always greener, I feel like, with Diablo 3. But we still play it. And that kind of, goes back to the point I made about vanilla D3. Like, loot, to me, I look back and I think, I don't remember if it was season 1 or season 2, but I was playing Leapquake Barb. And I remember specifically getting enough gear to go into Torment 3 and being like badass. Like, it was pretty early in the season, and I'm doing Torment 3. And season 1, that was probably a pretty big deal back in season 1. I don't really remember, so long ago. But I remember doing it and being like, this is the shit. Like, this is awesome. And I remember spending 3 days just trying to get Leapquake boots. Like, it took 3 days. Like, now, within the first 3 hours of the season, you have your full set. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's if I went back to that, though, would I still like it? I don't know. Yeah. I look at it, I'm like, I think that would be fun. I think it would be fun to have a season of famine. Like, let's put on those vanilla rolls. Shit. Let's get rid of the Hedrig's gifts. Let's see. No, but sense. If it's horrible, it could totally screw the season up and nobody plays for 3 months. Yeah, know? So, I mean, what do you think about that? How do you feel if they just drastically nerfed loot drops?
I mean, personally, it's been something I've been advocating for a really long time. I think that they should just. I honestly, if they greatly reduced the amount of loot drops, like legendaries, and then reduce the pool of what can roll on legendaries, like, fucking bleed on a one-hand weapon. Like, why is that still a thing? Like, why is that even on the stat rolls? So if you if when a legendary finally dropped, it had a higher chance of being good, you could significantly reduce a drop rate.
Mm-hmm.
And make
just imagine if one season no legendaries can drop. Just one season.
Oh God!
It takes that whole royal the Season of Nightmares thing to a brand new level.
Yeah, Season of literal nightmares.
Yeah, like nobody's pushing a GR20. Yeah. That season.
Unlock primals, world first.
Right.
That'd be nuts.
I don't know. But you look at it, it's like I said, the grass is always greener, because I look at it now and I think, like, man, how cool would it be to not actually have a 6-piece set for the first weekend of the season?
Yeah.
And I in my head, I think it's awesome, but when I'm actually playing, it could be super frustrating and suck, you know? And I could be like, well, this season's horrible. I'm out, So.
I don't know. I think it's just as painful for everybody else. There's like it's less bad. I don't know.
Yeah, as long as it's not just you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we know your drop rate would be significantly nerfed too. They'd ninja patch.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Nobody would feel bad because of lamentation either. So.
Toxic, bro.
I had I've been waiting to fit it in.
You effectively got
man.
people didn't realize that he got the Crusader shield nerfed. That was the end game, but nobody
true.
caught
That's
on
all
to
me.
that.
Anytime anything gets nerfed or there's anything negative, it's always me.
Right.
Just so
Unless it has to do with goblins, then it's all me.
True.
So,
actually true. I remember that. So some of you guys might not know that. So Wolfcryer, like, you got like death threats from. So he made a guide on how to farm like the treasure goblins the most efficiently. Like, God, what was it like literally 8 seasons ago or something?
Yeah, it might have been.
And yeah, people flipped the shit out because like a week later they got nerfed or something.
Yeah, it got like nerfed to nothing.
thanks, Wolf.
Yeah,
I just wanted to
dude.
let you personally know.
You were the innovator, and I saw that, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna run with that. I'm gonna get limitation nerfed a year from now. It's gonna be sick. But, you know, my favorite tweet of yours is you're like, you know what, Fluff? Like, you should have gone to BlizzCon, but at the same time, you know, I like being invited to things, so I'm never gonna speak up for you. Beauty. Anyways, go ahead.
So switching gears real quick.
Sure.
PoE, there's a development manifesto thread. Let's talk about that bad boy.
Yeah, the patch notes literally came out 8 minutes before the start of this podcast. So we're not going to go through those because that would just be
awesome.
A rambling mess, and they're huge. But we go through this manifesto. There's a lot of controversial stuff in here for Path of Exile. You know, some of the big takeaways for me personally, like, is they are getting rid of multi-mod, which is basically the ability for you to really make something that like suits your build to a T, like you have like kind of full control over it. And in SSF, you know, it takes a really long time to get the currency you need to do that. But in Trade League, it's like you can get full multi-mod, no problem, because like you get exalts and you make a ton of money, et cetera, et cetera. So I get why they did it, but this is kind of one of those things. It's like, again, like, you know, SSF isn't their focus, obviously, and it just, it's gonna hit us SSF boys pretty hard.
Which is also going to affect the Zazarian hardcore SSF.
Absolutely.
You know, competition.
Yeah.
So
this Friday.
So you know, like you were saying earlier, I am not a huge PoE player. A little experience. So what is this like? What's the significance of this in your opinion? Like, is this ridiculously big, or just like it sucks, but it's okay?
I mean, it's a pretty
gauge it for me.
Yeah, it's a pretty big hit. It's like I mean, I'd say it's like a net 20% loss in like how good these items can be. Here's the thing: it's like, so me farming crazy, I can maybe get like 3 multi-modded items like after like 2 months of like really playing hard.
Okay.
And now like I can still get those, and they can roll like 3 affixes instead of like 5. And it's still like good, but nowhere near as good as it was. And they're kind of nerfing like crafted affixes in general across the board. They're nerfing a lot kind of across the board if you read through these, especially the big patch notes. I think it's an attempt.
Is power creep becoming a problem in PoE?
Yeah, I mean, there's always, it seems like every league there's that build or two that are just like, they're just light years, like something's being not necessarily abused, but almost, right? Like last season, Blight was like summons, the zombies and the specters were just insane. The one before that, you know, Cyclone, the one you played, right? Like,
yeah, I played Cyclone. It was
insane.
Yeah.
The one for that, like curses. Yeah. There's always something that's just crazy OP. And I'm sure this league, someone will figure out some bow build that's just god tier. But yeah, it does. I remember them saying that they wanted PoE to be harder. And this is definitely, they're buffing Monster Life across the board.
Why would they say that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They want
right?
it to be harder.
It's actually crazy.
New players can't understand the game, but let's make it hard.
Yeah.
On top of that,
yeah, it's insane.
We only want to make this game for people who have already played it.
Yeah, they're doubling down on their target. I mean, and it's working for them. Like they've been so successful.
That's cool. I think it's a misplay to not try to bring in new blood, but.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I would tend to agree, but at the same time, it's like, well, are those casual players, like, I get it. At the end of the day, it's like those casual players, like, they're not going to stick around for this kind of game anyways. So, like, why
Casual players will give you money, though. Like,
True.
I spent, like, $60 on PoE, and I don't even play it. I just, you know.
But you're going to play it again. Like, it's just not.
And a lot of casuals will, too, though. So, and I'm not going to argue that point. Like, that's not my point. I'm just saying it's silly to me, you know, that they don't.
Yeah. The only really like Pog thing that came out of this for me was like some of my favorite skills in the game that they're just buffing, like Arc, Soul Rend, Venom Gyre. I think those are actually my 3 favorite skills, and they're like 3 of 5 that are actually getting a buff, which is great. But cool. Yeah, overall, like monsters getting tougher. I think that people will be in for a pretty big surprise this coming Friday with the Hardcore SSF League. You know, doing less damage to mobs that have more health. You know,
look at those patch notes, man. Good. Look how long they are.
This is just a developer thing. This isn't
that's
the
not
patch.
Even the patch notes.
Patch notes are like a novel.
4 times that size.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just.
Can you imagine, like both of you, like, you know, next patch we get just like 16 pages of Diablo. Like I can't even. Can you imagine that morning waking up and you're like, I'm actually overwhelmed by Diablo patch notes. Like I can't even fathom how giddy I would be for something like that. I
mean, we can read the notes now in less than 5 minutes and pretty much comprehend every single thing that's done. So I couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine. It'd be awesome, man. And hopefully that's what we get with D4.
Sure.
You know? So.
But yeah,
take notes.
Hardcore SSF thing this Friday, they're giving away like $50,000 in prizes and cash money for people that can get through the new Atlas. They're overhauling the Atlas with this big update Friday. So you're getting like basically 2 leagues for one. You get the new Metamorphosis League plus the Atlas rehaul. And so the first people that can kill like the new Atlas bosses, and that's insane in and of itself. Because like imagine you spent all this time like leveling a character and like you're confident with your build and you have some like really good stuff. And then you have to go fight something you've never fought before in the game, and it's on hardcore.
Yeah, and it's hardcore, right?
It's just nuts. It's kind of exciting. I'm a little excited about it. Like we've been practicing a little bit this week, and there's no absolutely 0 chance that I'm able to compete with some of these guys at race. But like
what's the stance on the log out?
You can do it, yeah. Whatever. Unfortunately, there's like they can't change it, so
there's no way to track it, I guess. Huh?
Yeah. It's unfortunate, but
yeah, it is. So
it's to me, like you're right about like. I was kind of surprised when they decided to go with the hardcore SSF. Like the SSF, I think was the right choice. But yeah, I guess
SSF makes sense because then you would have people pulling up to let one guy get the kill to split the money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that SSF makes sense. It's weird to me that they didn't split the money in half and do half soft, half hard. It just makes I don't know.
I guess it is more exciting though. At the end of the day, it's like hardcore, like watching like you know the person that's at the top.
What if it's a quarter goes to?
I don't know
I don't know, man.
I don't know if you've ever seen Path of Exile races, etc. Anyways, hardcore wins.
Right.
They don't lose to softcore.
Sure.
The first 90, 95, they're usually hardcore players that are reaching it first.
Yeah.
That's
it's its own little class, man. Those guys are, you know.
Yeah. I had so many people come up to me, ExileCon, like, oh my God, like Lord Fluffy, I love your stream. Like your quality is insane, but you don't play hardcore. You don't play hardcore, so I don't watch. I'm like,
is that what they said?
You, dude.
They're like, your stream quality's so high.
Yeah, they're like, I would watch you over any PoE streamer, but you don't play hardcore, so I don't watch.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus.
They must be all like, and you're handsome, and like you talk really
well.
Were
you there? Were you there? Wow.
I was. Wow. I think it was me on my alt.
Yeah. I would have noticed you towering over everybody.
He had a mask on. He was one of those LARPer dudes that came on.
He was Einhar. Oh my God. I knew it.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What did you think about the PoE announcement? Like, what was going through your head with that all pantomime?
With the Einhard thing, I mean, all I sat there doing was I was recording for a while, like gonna get my reaction, and then 20 minutes later of this guy, I got up and I'm like, oh, fuck it.
Yeah. It was brutal, man.
That's
absolutely brutal. But yeah, so again, big league this Friday. I'm super excited to play it, and I think a lot of other people are too. I mean, the directory is hyped, and people Yeah, even Diablo people that I know like only watch me when I play Diablo. They're kind of interested. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I don't play PoE much, but I do watch. If you're on and I'm not live, then I'll come hang out and I'll lurk and watch you and Dusky and other people that play PoE. So it's exciting. Just the excitement level that you guys have makes it exciting. Like even if you're not a player, you still get it. You know what I mean? So it'll be fun, and hopefully you die really fast and I can
Wow.
You know.
I would love to see Diablo like, they had the Twitch Rivals thing. I would love to see Diablo do like SSF, streamer who's first to like Paragon 1K or something like that at the start of a season. Like that'd be just so fun. We all talk shit on each other and
yeah,
be great.
And if you do it early enough in the season, there's no real bots going on, so it would actually be fucking people.
They could even do a Twitch Rivals like first team to 70. It doesn't even have to be SSF. And if it's all streamers, then they're gonna be live. You can see if they're cheating. You know what I mean?
That'd be so
hopefully
boring.
There'd be some honor system
in the Diablo.
I think it would be exciting if you're playing for money and you're going to be practicing the couple of weeks going into it. Like you're going to be like praying for those
15-minute event. Like it'd be so lame.
To 70. Yeah. Not if you had to play legit.
I don't know. There's still like
15.
So many weird ways to like.
Yeah,
you can
no
do the
exploits.
Gold
like
challenge.
You can't. Yeah, I don't know. Man. It'd be interesting. So,
I would hate to see them replicate the race though from PoE, and now it's exactly what that is.
Yeah, you couldn't do that idea.
Yeah.
I agree with that. You'd have to think of something unique.
Right.
But,
anyways,
but we got some Twitter questions before we get into them.
Oh yeah, sure.
We got to do this week's Fluff Hates.
Fuck yeah, we do.
This weekly segment of Fluff Hates is sponsored by Streamer Buyouts.
Yeah. So you guys have seen it. Like literally, it's getting worse. It kind of died down for like a week, and now it's like rampant again. There's some big Twitch streamer who's like, I've got an announcement to make, I'm going to get back to the roots, like whatever. Like, I honestly, if I got bought out for like $5 million to go to Mixer or something like that, which would never happen in any universe, I'd be just like, yeah, I got a big announcement to make. They gave me $5 million, so I'm going to go stream over there instead. You know what I mean? Like, why would you have to be like, oh, it's going to help me like get back to my roots and like, remember why I started this? Like, come on, man. Just say like, I'm getting paid like $1 bazillion.
Like I'm retiring off this shit.
Make sure if you're watching, I'll do it for $12.
Right. Yeah. And people are always like,
cheap date,
what would
man,
it take?
date.
Like, oh, as a Diablo streamer, like, how much would would it take? I'm like, well, you make like $5 a month. So you compound that for 3 years. Would it take a lot?
Pizza would do it.
Yeah. Can you guys give me one of those Subway cards that Adam Sandler got on Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
Where you could just go get free Subway for life. I'll take one of those.
I'm in.
Sign me up.
To like get back to, so I think it sucks because like I'm all for competition, right? The spirit of competition. Like, if Mixer was rising up because it's a good stream platform, like maybe they can do the quality just way better than Twitch. Maybe there's like more streamer interaction that's just better than Twitch. It's just something about it's better. But instead, like we want to get more people to our platform, so let's just buy out the streamers on the good stream platform, and then they'll come into our platform, and then maybe like we'll be more successful. And I just think that is so shitty. And
yeah, I gotta be honest. So to kind of tie into my thing, and hopefully I'm not stealing your thunder. We talked about it. I've talked about it on stream. Maybe the last podcast where Ziz got offered that ridiculous Facebook deal. And he said it live on his stream that they offered him 1.2 mil, and he said no. 1.2 million, and he said no to it. And like that is a chunk of change, boys.
Yeah,
like that's a lot of money, right, to turn down. But I went to Facebook Gaming because there's a content creator that I watched a little bit, and he did this thing. He got bought out by Facebook, I suppose. Don't know any of the details on what his contract was, but he's like,
the Destiny guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And he moved over to Facebook.
Sure.
Not the one that went to Mixer. This one went to Facebook.
Oh,
and I literally tried to find him on Facebook and I couldn't fucking find him. I
Wow.
couldn't find him by typing in his name and searching, and it's because the guy I'm talking about is True Vanguard, and he's a really popular Destiny YouTuber and streamer, and his name is The True Vanguard on Facebook. And when I typed in True Vanguard, it literally didn't find him.
Well, smart.
I had to put the on the
Smart
front.
search algorithm.
So like you couldn't even find this guy, and I'm thinking like, dude, you can't be doing well if people that are actively trying to find you can't.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I mean, I don't know the platform that well, but any idiot should be able to get on there and just search for you and find you. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you go to Twitch and I type in Wolfcryer, I'm gonna find Wolfcryer. If I type in Lord Fluffy, even I think without the underscore, I think it still pulls you up.
Sure.
So it just doesn't make sense. And like their system, Facebook's bad. Like it's pretty bad. Mixer's getting there though. It's it's not as good as Twitch, but
Right.
it's getting there. So
Yeah, it just, again, I love the competition, but like they're not leaving because the platform's better. Or they feel like they're gonna do more. It's just like they're getting paid, which I get. Honestly, like I don't know. Like I can give Ziz props all day for turning down 1.2 million. But I mean, I can't. It's so hard to put yourself in those shoes and see yourself not taking the deal, because it's like, streaming in and of itself is such a volatile thing that, like, we've talked about it before. We both had months where like, wow, maybe this is something I can do full time, and then 2 months later, you're like, I don't make anything.
yeah, yeah, I've been through that. I've had months where I'm like, yo, this could maybe like I can maybe do this full time, and then the next month I'm like, dude, I couldn't even. Like, I literally couldn't even put gas in my car that month. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I don't understand how you could do it. But it's the thing is relevancy, right? So I think it would be super hard for those guys to turn that down, because you don't know where you're going to be at a year from there, 2 years from there. Like that 1.2, that's enough that you could potentially, that's going to set you up. It's going to pay for your house and put some, if you invest it right, like that could be retirement money, regardless of how well your stream does in the future. And if you kill it still, then that's even more bank, right? But so it's crazy, man. We don't have all the numbers that these guys are looking at when they're making their decision, but
Sure.
for people like Ninja and Shroud, I'm sure it was a no-brainer, So
insane money.
So
yeah, I mean, I'll switch. Just give me $1 more than Ninja got. I'm there, man.
$1 more.
Yeah,
I mean,
$1
I'd take half.
But yeah,
Who got more? Who got more? You think, Shroud or Ninja?
Probably Ninja.
Probably.
Probably. I don't know, man. It's hard to say. They both went to Mixer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, probably Ninja.
I mean, Goth went to Mixer, and then 3 months later, he had pictures of his new house. It looked pretty ridiculous, and he's not even close on the level of those guys.
No. But yeah, it's
I don't
insane.
know. Yeah.
I would always be curious. Like I'm the worst, right? Like we talked about this the other day. Like, when like we get emails, right? They're like, "Hey, promote my game," or like make a YouTube video playing my mobile game, and we'll give you.
It's always mobile games.
This, and I'm like, I always reply. I'm like, well, I think my time's like worth this. Like, maybe we can like meet there. And so like I just get as much as I can out of them, and I just tell them no. Like, the worst. Because I'm always like trying to judge, like, okay, what is my stream worth at the end of the day? And it's like really the only way I can do it, because I don't have Facebook and Mixer like calling me being like, hey, we'll offer you.
Yeah. It's the same. I've got a couple of mobile guys that have reached out and done stuff like that, and it's the same for me. I'm like, well, listen, It's always like some commission scheme. Like, yeah, if you promote our thing and they use your code, you'll get this. And then it's a pyramid. Anybody they sign up is under you. And I'm like, how about you guys just give me a flat, and I'll just throw a ridiculous number out there, because I'm like, if they pay me this, sure, I'll talk about their game for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then they'll come back and be like, well, we can. And I just stop replying at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Have you ever had anything like worth pursuing, Wolf?
I've done a couple, and then after doing them, realized maybe it's not for me unless I make more. But I mean, I've gotten a couple of paid ones and no real big offers. I get those mobile ones lately and a few other random stuff, and I'm like, I go and look it up, and I'm like, No.
Right.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, brutal. I actually had one that was like, well, these like all natural granola bars. I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And then they gave me a number. I'm like, wow. And I think they're like, all you have to do is like eat a granola bar like once a day on stream. So I'm like, I'm already theory crafting in my head. I'm like, how can I do it in like funny ways? And this could be great because I actually like believe in this thing. And they sent me like granola bars and they were good. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. And then they like got down to like money. And it was like, well, we'll give you like, it's like 3% of boxes that you would sell in your stream or something like that. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, and then they wanted you to buy your own supply of granola bars to eat on stream too. It's like, so it's like that. It's like, the G Fuel stuff's kind of like that too. Or I don't know if G Fuel exactly, but Gamer Fuel or whatever they are. So, but I guess it depends on how big you are on how much they want to offer too. So, I'm sure some people got some good deals.
Sure.
Let's hit up some Twitter questions, boys.
Let's do it.
If you guys want to submit questions to the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter. You can jump in our Discords. Every week I'll throw a tweet out for the podcast. You can reply to that with your questions, and we'll ask them live on stream. The first question this week comes from Homer J. Nick says, what should Blizzard do about the Season 19 exploit? Talked about this quite a bit already. They've removed the leaderboard things, and they're patching it. So
honestly, all I could have hoped
exactly
for,
what they needed to.
All I could have hoped for was to delete those clears, and they did. So it's like cool.
And it was quick.
Yep. It was like less than a day. Maester Magus says, is everyone in Wolfcryer's family that tall?
My twin brother is.
Oh, that's right. Your twin. I always forget that.
Yeah, it looks just like him. But
me and my brother are the tallest in our family.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I met your brother at BlizzCon 2018, I believe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and I thought it was you. I'm like, Wolf. And then I'm like, wait, is that Wolf? It's got to be Wolf. And then I'm like, oh shit, he's got a twin. So
that'd be so weird, like going to something like BlizzCon where like people are gonna know who you are, but it's not you. It's like your twin brother. Like that'd be so weird.
I don't know if he liked it.
Yeah.
For like the 100th time, I'm not Wolfcryer. Yeah.
And then people are like, man, I met Wolfcryer at BlizzCon. He was a fucking dick.
Dan Atterbury says, what other two classes would Wolfcryer like to see in D4?
I'll take this one for you, Wolf. He would like to see Necro and Death Knight. Next question. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I'd like to see Amazon and Necro.
Necro.
But
oh man, he's kissing up, Fluff. He's kissing up.
No,
I'll host you. It's cool.
I would say Necro, but I'd say something like Satyr or Paladin because Necro I can't do build guides on.
What the? Yeah, true.
Jesse J says thoughts on the D4 plotline. I think it's that post that we talked about. I would assume is what they're referencing. But
probably just what we've seen. Like, it's the Lilith, and like
it's cool.
Hell on Sanctuary.
I'm happy with it so far. I don't think that Blizzard's storytelling is usually pretty good, so I'm not too nervous about the story being bad. You guys nervous about the story being bad?
No,
honestly, I don't even care if the gameplay is good.
Yeah,
I could care less about the story.
Matter.
Right.
If the story is phenomenal and the gameplay sucks, I don't care. I don't care that the story was good. But if the story's bad and the gameplay is phenomenal, I'm okay with that. And like an example of that is Lost Ark. I don't care about Lost Ark's story. No. I can't even understand it.
No.
I don't give a shit. I still want to play the game. Yeah. So that proves it. And then there are a lot of games that got amazing stories, but just gameplay's garbage. So I don't care.
True.
Key-Ray says, how long do you think Season 19 will hold your interest, or is it gone by the time of this podcast?
Wolf, you take it.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Wolf.
I'm personally still interested, which is all because of the Pandemonium buff and, this season in general. I mean, I was just pushing today. I got my Greater Rift to 125 down, which is the highest I've ever done. And
You have
I
no
don't
proof.
know. I'm still interested, but yeah, I don't because I forgot to hit record, which was great.
Sweet ass.
But I'm worried about two factors. Number one, it's too fun and too fast, and I've already pushed way higher than I normally can.
Sure.
And Path of Exile's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thing. Like, how long can it keep you away? There are so many good games out right now. Like, my laundry list, my backlog of games to play is full. I have so many things that there are games out there that I want to buy, and I haven't even bought them. You know, so it's how long can it keep you from playing them? I guess is the question. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That new Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, god damn, it's phenomenal. If you're a Star Wars fan, it's phenomenal. So,
is there multiplayer in that or a platformer game?
no, it's a big campaign.
Nerd.
Like a 60-hour campaign. So yeah, it depends. For me personally, my interest, I'm still into it. I don't know. I think I got another month probably, and then we'll see how it's going. I think 3 to 4 weeks, and then I might start cutting back on my playtime.
Right.
So,
yeah, for me, it's like this sucks because I missed like the first couple weeks already. And these PoE and Diablo 3 leagues, they're not staggering enough for me. Like, I still really want to see, like, you play a month and a half of Diablo 3, and then the new season or new league starts. You play a month and a half of the new league, the new season starts, right? Like, if they could just stagger, that'd be the dream.
Would be beast.
Yeah, and then but what's happening recently is like we get 2 weeks, 3 weeks of Diablo season, and then poof, PoE season starts, and it's like I want to wait. I want to just keep playing the Diablo season, but I'm so enticed by like the new things. Like it would be the same way if PoE League it was 2 weeks and then the Diablo 3 season started. It'd be the same thing. I would jump ship to start, and because I want to try the new things. And so it's just
yeah, I think that's kind of on PoE at this. Like, PoE doesn't care. Like, I think that they're big enough.
right.
I think Diablo is kind of shrunken in its presence, and PoE's grown so much over the last couple of years.
But PoE also has a very clear schedule, like a very clear content schedule. There's never a question of like, oh, is it going to be in like November or December is when the league's going to end. Like, we always know. It's always pretty on point. Whereas Diablo is well, it's Christmas.
Well, they're trying to stick to these 3-month seasons, I think. I hope now.
Yeah.
So, so we'll see. Yeah.
We still didn't really know the end of this season until like the very last minute. And then we didn't know the start of the season until pretty much the very last minute.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be the 15th, and it ended up being the 22nd, which was, so I'm with you on that. It would be nice to have concrete dates.
Sure.
I think they're just scared to commit to those dates.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and which is understandable too, but
small team,
yeah,
totes.
What about so what do you think, Wolf? How much time you got? Is PoE going to finish it off for you, or are you going to really step back? I mean,
right now I'm really into D3, so I'm going to be playing till I get burned out. I mean,
sure.
Right now that's my thing. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying this season and everything. So I don't know if I'm going to start Path of Exile's League on time because I'm really enjoying this season. Sure. I'm having fun with it.
It's almost smarter not to start it on time. Because if you look at the past like 3 leagues, like they've done like an overhaul of the league in the first 2 weeks.
Yep. And then they make it better.
Yeah.
Fix all the bugs. And then you can go in and play it right there.
I know.
See how crazy like that mindset is just so different because once the Diablo season starts, it's like boom,
right.
You can't touch it. Yeah. Like unless it's a critical crazy bug like they're doing now.
Yeah.
Like you don't touch it, So if you don't like what's going on, well, come back in 3 months, maybe, So that's one of the things about not having leaderboards, I think. I think Blizzard should relax a little bit and not worry about having to reset a seasonal ladder if they needed to. Like if something came out like super broken, do you think they should hold this stance of once the season starts, we're not touching anything? because like clearly they removed these exploit, and it's like, that's okay. So like they're like, guys, listen, like just like they did with the season 2019 era too, the patch kit, they're like, oh shit, this is super powerful. Crusader is super powerful. We're gonna tone this back a little bit. We're gonna reset the ladder. I know it sucks. It's been a week. Sorry. Here, we try this. Or so what if it was season 19, 2 weeks into it, they're like, man, this is pretty broken, guys. We're gonna wipe and reset. Do you lose it? Do you lose your mind, or are you just like, it's okay? I think the community would flip, but I think it might not be that bad of a deal.
You take that first, Wolf.
No.
No, don't do it, or don't do it.
Don't. You can't really mess with it at that point. That's what the PTR was for. You're going to upset way too many people, and I'm not personally going to vouch for Blizzard if you piss off that many people. I mean, that's not.
I think that's the mindset. That's the culture that they've created, though. I see, like PoE can do that because they don't have an actual leaderboard like that, but it's the culture. Like people are used to PoE getting adjustments after the league starts. And I think that the culture has been created with Diablo. Like once the season hits, don't touch anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it'd be like historically be very not stereotypical for them, because like you look at some of the most powerful builds we've seen over the past year, and it's like they've all kind of been based on an exploit. Like you look at Thorn's Necro, infinitely stacking Bone Ringer. You look at Starpack Wiz, like they're all kind of sketch. Like there's nothing that like feels like, and then you look at like even Shotgun Crusader, like your animation canceling your shotguns. So
yep.
I mean, unless it's like
Hoda Barb,
unless it's like a thing where it's like 0.05% of the population, like you go into a greater rift and to clear like a 145 still, you like start at the rift and then you like got to walk all the way through it, and then you do some crazy thing and like only 0.05% of the population is doing it, and you're like, so okay, we can decide that's an exploit because it's such a weird thing. But if it's like,
so like here, you just named the prime example. Like the Shotgun Crusader that we're playing right now, the animation cancel is 100% not intended.
Right.
It is not what they wanted. And like if they patched that in the middle of the season,
like everything.
If they would have done it in the first week, people probably could have cleared higher on the second or third week than they did the first week anyways, right?
Yeah.
So was it really that big of a deal? Would people freak out? Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not intended though. And it's like I guarantee that'll get changed in the future.
Yeah,
it's not it's not intended. They'll nerf it, but it's like why not do it in the season? So things like that.
Yeah. I wonder what their drive is to do that, because like animation canceling was fixed on Barb, but then you could still do it if you did it against walls. And then like they know that that's a thing, and that's been in the game for a very, very long time. So like I wonder what.
I mean, the build kind of needs the walls anyways to get all the mobs to group up on you anyway. But I agree, it's silly that you do it. But
I don't know. I don't know what their thought process is at all. So
I'm just curious. If you guys would think that it would be a good or bad thing to start doing mid-season patches or early season patches.
Go for it.
I think the communities would flip too. I think they've created a culture.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's see. Onion says, T-Foss said, thoughts on the Greater Rift 150 exploit and Twitch banning? I think we touched on that quite a bit. Onion said, Wolfcryer, for someone that plays a lot of Monk, do you hate that a lot of the builds are intertwined between multiple sets? Wave of Light, Tempest Rush example.
As far as like,
I think like Wave of Light being on like Sun Wukong and
Legacy of Dreams, Wave of Light, and Patterns of Justice, Tempest Rush, Sun Wukong's Tempest Rush. I actually like it. I like the fact that Patterns of Justice is the fastest Tempest Rush build. It's the fastest build in the game as far as getting keys and doing GR 85s and 90s, etc. And I like the fact that Sun Wukong's is the push build. So you've got one that's way faster. So you're actually needing two different sets. Usually it's just you utilize different runes or different movement abilities, throw on an Ingium for Wave of Light, but this time you're using both sets. And I think it's overall it's a pretty cool thing.
So just as long as they play differently, like it's fine. I kind of agree. It did suck for that whole like year and a half. It's like, okay, Wave of Light like Samwuku or Lawn, and then it's like Wave of Light Samwuku, and then Wave of Light Inaz, and then Wave of Light LOD, and it's just like the same build.
Yeah, it's
iterated
the same build
over and over. And yeah, to not see it locked to a set like all those seasons, like when it could have been, and it would have changed Monk just a little bit. Like it was such an oversight, but whatever.
I think the problem with it was in his blanket buff to everything rather than having in his focus on
Skills.
one or two skills like the rest of the sets.
Yeah.
I think Inez is the outlier with Monk.
Yeah.
For sure. Key Ray says, Wolf, how did you come up with level with the cause?
All right.
Hold on. Before you get into that, tell us what it is first, in case listeners don't know.
All right. So, Level with the Cause, we've been doing these charity streams since season 11 in Diablo 3. We've been doing them every season so far. The Diablo 3 community of streamers groups up. Different people join at different times. We raise money for Save the Children or St. Jude's or another deserving charity. And so far, over the last, 9 seasons, we've raised over $59,000 for charity, which is absolutely crazy. I never would have thought that it would come about. And it actually came about because in season 10, myself and Dropadewski, we did a race to 70. And the winner, the loser had to take a pie to the face. And we made a video about it. The winner got to post the video. I also, the loser could also post a video as well. So it was pretty cool. Drop won. I lost. I took the pie to the face. And then Dropadewski also took a pie to his face just to be fair, be up and up. And the next season rolled around and he's like, you want to do a race? I'm like, what if we did a something different? What if we did a charity stream? And he was pretty much like, hell yeah, I'm in. And then it started to grow. I think our biggest was season 16 or 17. There were 53 streamers involved, and we raised over $13,000 that time around. There were 53 Diablo 3 streamers doing it. This past one, season 19, people like Dat Mods joined. It was crazy, and I set the goal for 2,000. And once I saw everybody that was joining, I raised it to 3,000, and we reached that before North America went live this season.
Jeez.
So I doubled it to 600. And we crushed that first night, and we ended up over $9,000 this time around. It's pretty epic, and I love doing it, and it's something that I will always do as long as I'm playing Diablo 3.
Hell yeah.
Cool, man.
Dope, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty awesome thing. So,
let me ask you this. This is totally off topic. What was it like literally being the first person ever to stream Diablo 4?
Words can't describe it. It's something that definitely I'll remember forever.
All right. When did you know it was Diablo? Because I remember, Wolf, you were sitting right next to us during the D4 review. So hold on, I'm gonna give insight to all you Wolf fans out there. We're sitting there, and I'm sitting, Fluff's to my left. I got Bloodshed on my right. And I think down next to Fluff was Wolf. He was right behind, right behind Fluffy in the row behind us. Mm-hmm. And so right before we don't know D4 yet. Like we were assuming, we're speculating, but we don't actually know. And Wolf's back there. I turn around and he's sitting there like straight, shaking his legs and stuff, looking. I'm like, Wolf, you okay? Man, you were so nervous, dude. Did you know at that moment? Did you know yet?
When I found out I was streaming Diablo 4, was
You were sweating bullets, I could tell.
When the cinematic started,
Sure.
that's what I found out. When the cinematic started, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking stream Diablo 4. And I'm up first. I'm like, what the hell?
It looked like you saw a ghost. I remember looking back at you a couple times, and you were just like, oh my God. Oh my God.
I'm like, what kind of marketing genius picks this route to go?
Yeah,
but it was epic. It was the most surreal experience ever.
So you didn't know going into, like, for all you knew, it could have been Immortal?
It could have been Immortal. It could have been anything. Nobody told me anything. The night before, it's funny. I was talking to, I was there with Riker and Bloodshed and Toys, who goes in a lot of streamers' streams. And I'm like talking to Toys, and I'm like, there's no fucking way it's D4. I mean, even if they announce it, there's no way I'm streaming D4 at noon as the very first streamer. I'm like, that's not going to happen. And he's shaking your head. He's like, good luck with that. And I'm like, that's just not going to happen. And it was pretty epic. It's something I can always say. You'll be the face of Diablo 4, but I was the first player of Diablo 4.
World's first, man. World's first. So
that's dope, man. I can't even imagine.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. And as a side note to that, we're sitting there watching. So I think after Diablo 4, they did Overwatch 2, I think. I can't even really remember that well.
I left.
But Diablo 4 did just finished. And Fluff's like, yo, P, watch my stuff, man. I'll be right back. He just left. He's just gone. And then so like, all the other trailers went by, and then I'm like texting Fluff, where are you at, man? I got your shit. He just left it.
Yep.
He's like,
I got back before it was like, or by the time the next panel, and you guys were like, what you think? I'm like, it was all right, man. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Instantly, he's like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So. Pretty fun times.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then we got 2 more questions. Cole Smash says, what features from TurboHUD should be added to D3?
I don't even
know all the features. Yeah. The only feature that I'm really familiar, there's 2 features that I'm familiar with, and it's the unfogging of the map. I guess there's 3. The pylon placement on the map, so you know where they're potentially going to spawn.
Yeah.
And then it moves like COE to the middle of the screen, which that actually is pretty cool. So that's, obviously you can't unfog the map. That's cheating.
Sure.
Knowing where pylons are going to spawn or if they've spawned is cheating. And then, I don't even know what other shit it does. But being able to move your buffs or even just rearrange them, like COE should always be first or something. So that way your eye can instantly find it when you're looking for it, not having to sort through, where's COE, where's COE, there it is. I think at minimum, that would be cool. So.
Yeah, I mean, I heard once upon a time you could see stricken stacks. Like someone, I don't know. Like I just don't get it. Like you mentioned the COE
stricken
thing.
Stacks would be cool.
Yeah, you mentioned the COE thing. I had heard that you could see stricken stacks, and then someone on the YouTube channel was like, oh no, neither of those are true. I use it all the time. I'm like, I don't know what's true. Like, it's not like the THUD crowd are the most trustworthy of sources either. So it's like I have no idea what it does. Honestly, I've never.
I mean, I've seen screenshots. Like way back in the day, I saw screenshots of it, and it looked like it was a bunch of shit all over the screen. I'm like, I don't even know what half that crap is, but I did notice the COE in the center. I'm like, that's dope. Like that would be cool. So. Stricken stacks would be pretty fucking amazing. I didn't know that's even a thing. So if that's a thing, if that's something that they could actually like display on screen, why couldn't, we get, like, how you get a rend icon above the monster's head? Could they draw stacks on that too? Like just put an icon
under the bar
stacks
with a stricken gem and a number next to it. Like,
and a stack. That would be phenomenal, man. Yeah. So I don't know.
But I'd rather see a leaderboard filter. Like, don't worry about stricken stacks.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I would like to see people just get banned for using it. So,
True.
Same.
This question comes from me, Wolf, and this is the absolute most important question of the night.
Choose carefully.
Now, every guest we've had on here, where I'm batting 1,000.
Oh shit!
Bacon or sausage?
It's fucking bacon, man.
Yes, you nailed it. I'm still batting 1,000. Can I? Yeah, bacon. Bacon all day. Bacon all day. So the question, this originates way back on like one of their first episodes. Fluff says that sausage is better than bacon.
Because no one thinks it through. There's only one person that's had the highest intelligence imaginable, David Brevik.
He said bacon.
No, he said sausage.
We'll have to go rewatch that. I think I'm batting 1,000. I don't think anybody's picked sausage.
Because you got to think about all the types of sausage.
This is the portion of the stream where Fluff will try to talk you into picking the
types of sausage versus there's one kind of bacon. That's it.
Yeah, the fucking great kind.
There we go. You lost, man. You lost. All right.
Go ahead. Whatever.
That's it. That's it, guys. That's it for the New Meta podcast tonight. Thanks for hanging out. I know, Wolf, I know you're on the East Coast, man. Thanks for staying up late.
No problem.
And coming on and doing this with us. It was awesome to have you on. Tell us where we can find you for those guys who don't know. Give me your Twitter, your Twitch, your YouTube, all that stuff. Shout it out.
YouTube.com/Wolfcryer, Twitch.tv/Wolfcryer, and you can find me on Twitter at WolfCryerYT.
Hell yeah.
There you go. If you guys want to see more of me, my name is ThaPChild. You can find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all those places. Just search for ThaPChild.
Yeah. I'm Lord_Fluffy. Double those underscores on the Twitter. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace out.